Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Fence Movie Reviews. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Rob.
Today we are going to be talking about It, Chapter 2. So It, Chapter 2 stars Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, and Bill Hader, along with returning members of the cast from the first one, such as Bill Skarsgård, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Finn Wolfhard. So anyway, after making a blood oath, the Losers Club, they said if It would ever return, they would return to Derry and stop him and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So 27 years later, Mike is keeping track of everything that's going on, and he's noticing that It is starting to make a comeback. So he calls back the old gang to come back and fulfill
like
their
Kiss.
blood oath.
Yeah, like the band Kiss.
So let's just jump right into it, Rob.
Let's do this.
What did you think about the film?
You know what? I really enjoyed this film. I feel like all the actors who played, the older actors who played, the versions of the younger ones, they matched perfectly. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're gonna hear this a lot. The standout is Bill Hader, who I don't think he was the lead of the movie. I don't know if there's an actual lead of the movie, but I feel like he was the personality he brings stood out the most to me. And but all the actors did a great job. The younger actors did as well. So I really enjoyed. Kind of the same thing from the first movie. All the camaraderie that they had together. Mm-hmm. You get sucked right in.
Yeah, I think that was one of the good things from this film was like what you're saying. That cast, that kind of, they do a good job of capturing the feel of the original cast, and you believe that they are the same kids grown up.
Yes.
And that was their strong thing. Like you said, Bill Hader was definitely the standout here.
I also think too. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it was. It Chapter 2 was more scary than It, but I do feel like there were more scares in the movie. Being that the movie is pretty much close to 3 hours long, I feel like the majority of the movie, they're trying to scare you as an audience. And I was not scared because I don't get scared, but... Did you get scared?
I always get scared.
Yes.
But like what you're saying, I think that, I agree. They were I think they heard some of the complaints from the first one was that it was not scary enough, so they were adding scary elements, like scenes, but for me, they didn't really work as well.
Okay, so you weren't scared?
No, I wasn't, actually. Okay. I felt
He's a liar.
I felt the first one was a little bit more terrifying, and I think maybe that might be because anytime you put young children in that type of situation, it kind of creates a sense of terror.
Yeah.
And there's a couple scenes in this one where I felt that same terror, and it had to deal with children. So I think that's where it's most effective. Whereas this one, with the adults, it feels a little more psychological rather than just
because as an adult, for me, a clown isn't too scary.
Yeah.
Or spiders. I don't know. You might be scared of spiders, but not me. But yeah, no, I definitely, I do feel like the first one I almost felt was more creepy. This one I feel like they were going for more of the terror and like the mental, trying to break you down mentally kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. I'm not saying it's one is better or one is not as good. And I liked it. They're each in their own way. They bring their own kind of scare, kind of horror to the audience. There was a few things that wasn't feeling. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's parts in this movie I feel like there's a character in particular I feel like we didn't need to have him.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and I felt the same way again because it is almost a 3-hour runtime.
Right.
The thing about that is, and I think that's one of the major downfalls of this film is you really start to feel it. Like there's a part with like that second act where they have like that task that they all have to go do.
Yes.
And you really start to feel it. And so like when you have a character like the one you're talking about, where I think if you just kind of wrote it off, the film would not miss it at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's something where you could have saved yourself like 10-15 minutes there.
And I've never read the books, so I don't know how it
Yeah.
is. And I'm assuming maybe this
Yeah,
particular
and
character
that's probably what it is.
was in
'cause
the
I haven't
book.
read it either, but yeah, that's probably what it is.
So I understand it, but at the same time, sometimes
That's the thing about adapting.
Yeah.
Is you gotta like know what to cut and what to keep.
Right.
And after you screen it, you go, does it really serve a purpose to the film overall? Does it
Right.
work? And I don't really feel that it did. So yeah, I think that's a big problem there.
And that was pretty much. I mean, I don't like to like look at a runtime and be like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's a downfall for me. But this movie being so long, and you know the stuff that you look at it afterwards, and you're like, oh, they could have took this out, they could have took that out, and then you feel the runtime, and then you're kind of like, okay, well,
Yeah.
it didn't need to be
Yeah.
this long, but
No, exactly, and I think that's the thing is where pacing comes into play as
Right.
well. If the pacing is really well done, then you won't feel it. You know,
Right.
One of our favorite movies of this year was about 3 hours long, which was
Right.
And you don't feel that.
Right.
It
right.
doesn't
It
feel
didn't-
as
yeah,
long. You're not checking your
exactly.
clock, and I think here it kind of felt that way. And my thought as I was watching was, I go, maybe doing this would have served a little bit better as a miniseries on like HBO or Netflix or Amazon or something like
Yeah.
that, where you can, because I understand they were trying to give each character their time, but
Right.
I didn't feel that in this one where you know the adult characters, I wasn't as connected as I was with the
Yeah.
the younger versions of themselves.
Right.
And so and they kept doing, you know, flashbacks
Mm-hmm.
to explain stuff, and it just, for me overall, didn't work as a story building process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, if it was a mini series, I think it would have been a lot more effective, because then you can take your time,
Right.
and it won't feel as long, and when you get to that climax, it becomes definitely more effective.
Okay.
But that's the way I kind of felt about it.
No, I pretty much agree with you on that. You know, and also there was just a few, and not to sound like I'm I really did enjoy this movie, and not to
Yeah.
sound like I'm complaining about, but there's just a few character arcs in the movie. Again, not going to spoil anything. That it just kind of was. Again, it could be in the book. That it just was kind of like it didn't work for me
Uh-huh.
as far as certain characters being like, oh, well, you know, I got to do this or I got to do that. And it's kind of like, well, you know kind of how to defeat him from the first movie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. But again, never read the books, but I did enjoy this movie.
Okay.
I did enjoy this movie.
So, with all this being said, Rob, are you going to jump off the fence? Are you going to stay on the fence? What's your verdict?
So everything that I've taken in, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to stay on the fence on this one.
Okay.
Because as much as I did enjoy this movie, I don't see myself watching this movie again. And again, it has to do with the runtime, how long it is. I can't just, you know, I'm going to put It Chapter 2 on and you know, just kind of watch it. I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again, but I will and have watched the first It. So right now I'm going to have to stay on the fence for It Chapter
Okay.
2.
That's interesting.
What's interesting? What is interesting
I was
about
expecting
that?
you to jump right off that fence.
No, don't
'cause-
expect me to do anything.
Okay.
Don't expect
I
you.
don't answer anything
I
to
have,
you.
don't talk to
I
me
don't
right
speak
now.
for you. I
Yeah,
know.
you don't speak for me, but you tried to earlier in this video when you said, "Oh, me and Rob's favorite movie is, or one of our favorite." Let me tell you what my favorite movie is. Anyways,
Anywho,
yes, The Mate.
The
Matrix.
I was debating with myself here. Do I get off the fence or stay on the fence? And for me personally, I think I'm going to stay on the fence. But I think if you're a fan of the first one,
And he's go ahead, go ahead. You're giving me a hard time about staying on the fence, but go ahead, go.
I'm going to stay on the fence. And but I will say, if you are a fan of the first one, I would say maybe get off the fence, because I think you might have a more enjoyable experience watching it at the theater rather than watching it at home.
Wait, hold on. You said to stay on the fence, but then you said to get off the fence. He said that, right?
I'm saying, me personally,
Okay.
this is how I feel about it. But like I said, if you're a fan of the first
Okay,
one, maybe,
okay.
and you really want to
I
see
get
this
that.
one, go watch it in theaters versus
that.
watching it at home, because I think it's a more enjoyable experience watching it at the theater than at home.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying, Rob. So you know what? You do you, I'll do me, okay?
All right, Adrian. So I'm going to stay on the fence, and Adrian's going to jump off the fence, but get back on the fence, and then get off the fence again, and then get
I
back
can't
on
make
one
up
more
my
time.
mind. Okay, so
Okay,
I
that's
just
fine. He's indecisive. It's okay. Everyone's entitled to their own
stay
opinion.
on the fence, guys. Just stay on the fence. Do what you want. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching our review of It Chapter 2. Why don't you let us know in the comments down below what you thought of the film. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, and follow us on Instagram at On The Fence Movie Reviews.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.